Hi, I'm here today making another video. I'm here with Jason Grinovich, professional hockey player. How are you, Jason?
Good, Jocko. How about yourself?
I'm good, thank you. How's the weather?
Weather's doing okay. It looks like it's pretty windy here and overcast, so it's blowing something in.
Better than ours. We have a real heat wave going on, but we're gonna hopefully get out of it soon.
That's all right.
Yeah. So I want to make this video regarding the rules of the game, rule changes. What irritates you and me the most about the game with the rules? Did you want to start first, or what you would
You
add?
can go ahead, Jocko, and
Okay.
I'll follow you up.
Well, the biggest one regarding hockey itself, for every level, I would add checking starting from might level. So as they're taking away checking, you see a lot more guys getting injured now in the NHL. So I would add checking at a lower level. I think it's going to be better for the game, less injuries. Yeah.
Yep, you're right. Teach them how to hit while they're learning how to skate.
Exactly.
Means there's no injuries, right? Because they can't get moving fast enough to actually hurt somebody.
Exactly.
So it's I call that contact confidence. I've been teaching that to my kids, not only my kids, all the groups that I work with from a very young age. And I call it playing shoulders in hockey. And yes, do we take the most amount of penalty minutes in the league? Absolutely. But you know what? I'm okay with that because when those kids get older, they're not scared of contact and they know how to protect themselves.
Exactly. What irritates you the most? What would you change if you were to?
Well, I don't know what really irritates me the most. Like one is, the essentially taking or trying to minimize or eliminate fighting in the game.
Mm-hmm.
That just creates more stick work, more face washes, scrums. Stuff that doesn't belong in the game. I mean, back in the 80s and 90s, you didn't get in a guy's face and start yapping, or you got socked in the face. I mean, if you wanted to be that guy, well, they all handled it. I mean, it's that to me. And there was respect in the game back then, obviously, where, would they, give Gretzky or somebody like that, or Lemieux or anything like that, a little hack or a whack or whatever. Absolutely they did. But they didn't abuse him. You look at a guy like Connor McDavid and what he's gone through with the collarbone and the knee and all that kind of stuff. Had there been a Dave Semenko or a Bob Probert or a Ty Domi or list goes on and on with heavyweights, Bugard and
Wade
Belak.
You got Lucic.
Lucic. Well, he's got to catch him to get there. But anyway, it's one of those things you didn't do that because then you have to face the Reaper.
That's right.
And nobody wanted to face the Reaper, so they want to talk about scoring. Man, you look, Gretzky had 200 points in a season, 200 plus points in a season. Well, now they're trying to just get these guys up to 100 points, and they think they're doing well. And I know the game has changed and all that. So to me, I think a big thing would be I'm not saying bring back infighting, but don't demote fights.
Get rid of the instigator rule.
Absolutely.
That should have been gone that long since. When Bettman came in the league, that got into the league. When that crazy commissioner that we got, came in.
But you know what? He openly said that we want to make this a quotation mark Disney-friendly sport.
Kind of reminds me of Slapshot too.
You know what? It doesn't work. It's like taking hitting out of football.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, well, we're going to go from tackle football to flag football.
Yeah.
Well, you think the attendance would be the same? No. No. They're not trying to make football, the NFL, be Disney friendly. They're making it. This is our game. If you want to watch it, watch it. And I appreciate that. That's kind of one thing that I wish they would change. Another thing is I hate video reviews.
Yes.
The whole offside, goal, this, that, the next thing. I mean, I like the human error in it, Jack. I love it. If they make a mistake, they miss an offside, or they, it is what it is.
But the refs don't man up to it. That's the problem. When the refs don't man up to their mistakes, the people don't respect them anymore, and that's what's going on. So
they're like, why are they on the ice? If everything's video, and there's no fighting, why are they on the ice?
There's too many refs, anyways. They need to get rid of one of them and go back to the 3-man referee, and I think it'd be better. There's too many refs out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're trying not to miss a call, and which I get it. There's a lot on the line. There's a lot of money on the line for wins and losses, and I get all of that. But to me, the human error, the human element in the game, Basketball hasn't changed. Football hasn't changed. Baseball hasn't changed.
No.
There's no other sport that's trying to change. So why are we trying to change the game of hockey? We don't.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful sport.
Yeah.
Let them play.
Yeah.
Let them play.
I agree. One thing I would bring back if they want more scoring is go back to the square crease. You remember the round crease that they have now? The goalies will line up perfect and just be perfect on their angle. Back in the 80s, it was a square crease. That's why Wayne had a lot of goals, and it's a lot better. And then don't minimize the goalie's gear. Keep the goalie's gear the same, but go to the square crease. So that's what I would add.
Yeah, I mean, goaltenders are getting bigger. I get what they're doing with the gear. I mean, it is what it is. You don't want this guy wearing,
I do.
triple X size gear and whatever. I mean, like right now, in all honesty, Jack, I would just go get a sumo wrestler. 600, 700 pound sumo wrestler. Strap a bit of gear on him. I mean, he just lays in the net and there's not a hole.
Can do a butterfly stance, sit in the butterfly on his knees and just stay there. And
he doesn't even have to do the butterfly. He fills the net, Jack.
He don't know how to stand on the skates. What are you going to do? Put him down? I mean,
he's just going to lay. He's just going to lay down.
Well, don't make a rule on weight limit. That'll be the next thing. Though, how much weight limit?
This is what I'm saying. Like, you want to get around. You want to do stupid stuff to win. Go get a 700-pound sumo wrestler and just strap some gear on him. And I mean, it's all based on your size, right? Like the size of gear you can wear. Man, that guy, he'll cover the whole net. He'll cover the whole net. You can't score.
I would like to actually try. I've seen that on the Sports Science, but that guy was not really 700 pounds. But get a real Japanese. Don't get the American Japanese. Get a real Japanese 700-pound guy. And they're pretty agile. They actually can move very fast. So
they can move great. Like they're not what you think they are when you say 700 pounds. But there's lots of silly stuff. There's tons of silly stuff that we do in the game.
Don't make the net bigger.
Why? They scored 200 goals a year per player back in the 80s. Why can't they do it now? And I get it, goaltending's different.
And they got better sticks now. Better sticks, lighter gear.
What
there's a lot.
The game has changed. It's evolved equipment-wise, and But to me, all these rules and stuff that they put in place they're just silly. Just go back to the way it was.
I would eliminate the red line icing. I would eliminate icing completely because you got a high tempo game. All of a sudden, you got one icing. It kind of slows the tempo down. I just kind of let the goalies play freely.
The only reason that they have icing in is to pretty much stop you from delaying the game and just pounding pucks out, and putting it into now that they got that touch/no touch icing.
Trapezoid
protect the players from getting run.
Yeah.
Another thing, and I know it's not a rule, but it's kind of in there. I believe that this whole no trade clause.
Yeah.
And you're an unrestricted free agent. If you want to have a no trade clause, you're automatically, I don't care your age, you are an unrestricted.
Everybody.
Everybody. You can't just go. Restricted free agent.
Yeah.
So you have to stay with that team. They have to, because there's so many guys. You look at what Johnny Gaudreau did to the Flames this year.
Yeah.
And they got nothing for the guy. And don't get me wrong, he's a heck of a hockey player and all that kind of stuff. I don't like him. I don't think he's going to win a championship in his career. I wouldn't build a team around him. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. I'm not a hockey guru by no means and don't claim to be. But he just left the Flames high and dry, and he was a good hockey player. There was worth to him.
Yeah.
So he should have been a restricted free agent. And they could have traded him to anywhere they wanted. There should be I'll pick 4 teams. No, man. It's not about you. It's a game.
Yeah,
and it's a business. And we've paid you X amount of millions of dollars over the years.
Yes.
And now you're just bailing on us and we get nothing? It shouldn't go that way.
No, I agree. And hopefully they won't retire his number in the future if that's the case.
Well, I don't think Calgary would. I mean, you can't just. Maybe they would, but you can't just walk away. He's not a Jerome McGillna. He's not he's done nothing for
this. He's just another player, in my opinion.
He's just another player that they gave a ton of ice. Don't get me wrong.
They gave him a big nickname. They gave him a good nickname. That's all. But
Johnny No Gaudreau. Yeah.
What do you think about bringing the goal line back 2 feet towards the board, so less room behind the net where more pucks pop out?
Absolutely. When they moved that, and they created more Gretzky's office space behind the net, that's where they push the play.
Yeah.
They push the play behind the goal lines. Well, that's not where I want to see it. I want to see it in front of the net. Yeah. Move that back so there's way less room to get back there and pin the puck in. And I know that's going to eliminate, a lot of jobs for guys that they work the walls and the corners really well. But that's not what we pay to see. If you're going to change it, let's make more space in front of that net to score goals.
There'll be more score and bring the mid zone a little bit bigger. So bring the blue lines in more, so it'll be more chance, I think, for scoring. Because the further you're away from the net, it's a lot tougher to get goals. If the blue lines are 2 feet back where they used to be. I like to see everything back to where it used to be. And
well, the only reason they did that was to shorten the neutral zone, so it lessened the neutral zone trap, which I understand, and it gave, because the players are so much bigger now per capita. So much bigger, they're running out of room on the ice.
They're not much bigger. I think they were bigger in the 90s. I think they're a lot smaller now, weight-wise, and they're not.
Well, weight-wise, yeah, height-wise, I think the average height in the NHL is significantly up. I could be wrong. Now they're transitioning into this other style of game, so there's a lot more opportunity for guys that are in that 5'6" to 5'10" range.
That never existed before.
It never existed. No. There were small guys like Theoren Fleury, but really, in my opinion, Martin St. Louis was really the guy that kind of broke the ice for the small guy that you could play at that level, right?
That's the year they changed all the rules. What do you think about the collisions happening in mid-ice? Because is it because the mid zone is small? I believe also the guys aren't checking when they're younger. So when they're getting out there, they got their heads down. They're not used to checking, so they got their heads down a lot. I see a lot of guys with their heads down. They get creamed.
Yeah, their heads are up, their eyes are down, and I know that sounds weird, and I always tell that to kids. Yeah, my head is up. I'm like, but your eyes are down.
Yeah, the eyes are down.
You could be if you're looking straight forward, but your eyes are looking at your feet. You can't see straight forward, right? It's just common sense. So. Yeah, it's like driving, right? If you're staring at your steering wheel, but your head is looking out the window, you're not seeing what's in front of you. It's no different, right? No. And I think that's what's happening, and it's because and you're right. I think it's because of the contact starting later in the game. Yeah. These kids get used to. Yeah, they're a lot more skilled with the puck these days, for sure. And the stuff that they can do, absolutely, but. If I'm a Trevor Zegras and I pull we'll just call it the Zegras move at this point in time, I might get away with that once, but if I'm a defenseman and we're back in the day and I see that guy going for that again, I'm barrel rolling that guy. That's the difference.
That would have never happened back in the day. You do that, you're probably marked man for the rest of your career.
Well, you look at Rob Schremp. From the Edmonton Oilers. He got blackballed from the NHL, in my opinion, because he was that talented. And he was doing all those crazy stuff, and they thought he was a show-off.
But that's nothing new. People think this is all like the Zegras stuff there were guys doing that back then in practice. But they just wouldn't try it in real practice.
But you never dared do it in a game, because you pull something like that in a game, you were labeled as a show-off across the NHL, and every game a guy's trying to headhunt you for, essentially making fun of them, right?
Yeah. What do you think about eliminating the red line? I think I would bring the red line back and have the 2-line pass again. I know it's going to slow the game down, but if the guys are that fast, it shouldn't bother them.
Well, it shouldn't. I like the open ice game and the stretch pass. I do like that. I grew up with that. Obviously not in the tail end of my life. I grew up with that. I think it was 97
it came out in 2004.
They removed that.
2004.
Well, that's when they did it. That's when they did it in the NHL.
College was always open ice. College had always gotten rid of that.
No, they started with the junior hockey ranks, then they pulled it from college. Mm-hmm. And that was probably 4 years before I got to college. They pulled that red line, maybe 5. But yeah, it was kind of newish, so to speak, and coaches didn't really, the old school coaches, which were the majority of them, they didn't really understand how to utilize that additional 20 feet, right?
Yeah.
So I don't mind them opening the game up like that whatsoever, just because the skating is so good. And that I don't mind that whatsoever. It does eliminate some elimination of opportunity for contact. But you know, I don't know if it's a game changing rule for me to take back.
Yeah. Well, the one thing, another rule would be the power play. A 2-minute power play, the guy would stay in the box for 2 minutes. So if they want to bring that rule back, that used to be back in the 50s, believe it or not, where you stay.
I like that rule.
They serve the whole 2 minutes. So you score 3 goals on the same power play. Because if they see the penalty minutes career stats, most of the time they weren't sitting in there that long. When the goal's scored, they come back on. So it shouldn't be counting as 2 minutes. It could be count whatever the goal was scored, they come back on the ice.
You know what? I definitely agree with that. It should be like a 5-minute major is now.
Yeah.
That you sit there for 5, you sit there for 2. Yeah. That's what you sit there for. There's no get out of jail free card because they scored. Right?
Yeah. I think it'd be better for scoring.
You know what? That would clean the game up a lot. You're going to have less scrums because guys aren't going to want to sit for, take one cheap shot. They're not going to want to sit for 2 minutes.
Yeah. I think that might be
cost their team potentially, say, 2 goals.
Or 3.
Yeah.
Or maybe 4.
Well, if you're playing against the Avalanche, it could be more than that.
Yeah.
So
that's one I would change. One thing, here's another question. What rule would you be afraid of that would haunt you that might be in the future? Like a future rule that you're afraid of that could come in with this crazy commissioner we have?
The game is run by video.
Okay. You want to know so video?
All the officiating is done by video.
So you think
there would just be a light that goes on,
uh-huh.
and it would be all video review. It would all be video. So you
no referee.
No referee. I mean, there would have to be a controller, we'll call him, a referee,
so
just in case something did break loose.
Uh-huh.
But it would be that everything's by video and computer, and so that this whole offside stupid stuff, mm-hmm. that a linesman misses and the guy is offside by like an eighth of an inch.
Yeah.
Well, but they all of a sudden they video review that, bing, a light comes off, a horn goes off, and it's a face-off.
So it'd be like a lot of stoppage. It's kind of like football.
Yeah, or you give the guy the little dirty hack behind the play, and all of a sudden that's called because that's a slashing.
So would you go and rescue the zebras out of the zoo to get them back into play?
I would rescue the zebras out of the zoo, put them back into play, and let them make human error.
Yeah. I used to complain a lot about the old referees and the Knights. I hate Koharski. I hate, those. But now I'm like looking back, man, I love those guys. I'm sorry, guys, for ever bad-mouthing the referees back then because they're way better than today's refs, that's for sure.
Oh, you know what? I love them all except for Kerry Fraser because I swear to God,
Kerry Fraser, even as much as we hated him, he'd be better than anything today. Those guys had class. Yeah. Everybody had a character to them. Today they're all look the same. They don't have like that. You don't recognize the referees. They just have a number. They're afraid to put their name on the back because they're scared.
Yes.
Yeah. My fear would be that they would get rid of slap shot because some guy would have gotten severely hurt, and then they would eliminate slap shots completely out of the game. That's my fear. The biggest fear.
You know what? And there's not a lot of guys that use a slap shot nowadays.
Yeah.
Which is so wrong. There is such a time and a place for a slap shot and an opportunity for it. You look at all the guys that they classify as great goal scorers, like Steven Stamkos, Kucherov, Austin Matthews,
Ovechkin,
Shea
Weber.
Leon Draisaitl, Shea Weber, Ovi for sure. What is their forte? It's a one-timer. What is a one-time? Yeah, you can take a sweep shot one time. But these guys are making a living with a slap shot one time.
Yeah.
You look at there is just such and I get it. The game is quick, but these guys don't use proper technique.
Yeah.
Most of them, and it takes them an hour to get it off. Where, man, it never took me an hour to get it off.
They
My
might
slap shot
headhunt
was
somebody.
up and down.
And they might headhunt somebody.
Yeah,
on their
for
own
sure.
team. The other fear I have, it kind of sounds crazy, but all the hockey players looking like astronauts out there with full bubble, like with the oxygen thing in their mask and they have the water filter. Like it'd be just like a completely enclosed. Like they look like astronauts out there. That's my
But you know
fear of
what?
the game
It's
happening.
not gonna surprise me, Jack, if in the next 10 years they put full cages on the hockey players.
I'm against cages for kids. I think they should go with helmets. And every adult that I asked today that played without a cage, I asked, so how many times did you ever get hit in the face? They said none. I mean, you know, Parkland, we played, 600 pickup games out there. I never saw anybody get hit in the face.
No,
So,
no,
and it
but I
was
mean,
fast-paced.
when you're playing without, well, again, Jack, you bring back in fighting.
Yeah.
If somebody stuck you in the face, you fought him.
Yeah.
It was like, what are you doing? Control your stick, and you beat the tar off of them.
Yeah.
Like that was just the way the game was played back then. So it's just a lot of the rule changes have created, you know, one messy sticks, right? Like where these kids, man, they listen to a kid's game.
Yeah.
All you hear is sticks hitting cages.
Yeah. And if you remember, we played pond hockey outside with no equipment. Nobody ever got hit.
No.
And, you know, the guys who didn't have helmets, they never had head injuries. Bobby Orr played
No.
all his career without a helmet. He never had an injury. He played full hitting, full out.
Well, but guess what? He played with his head up.
Yeah.
And you know what he never did? He never turned his back towards the play.
Yeah, that's another one. You're bringing
Because
up another
back
subject
then,
here.
there was no such thing as hitting from behind.
I never saw it. All the years I played hockey, I never saw a single guy turn their back. And the one ref said to us, "You turn your back, you're on your own. We don't call those. So don't turn your back."
But you know what? Mr. Miyagi said best.
Who's
When
Mr.
Canada
Miyagi?
put the- when Mr. Miyagi
Who's
put
Mr.
the,
Miyagi? Explain to them, because the people are
Your,
not
your
going to.
dad. That's
That's
Steve.
my dad, Steve. Okay.
Yeah, I call him Mr. Miyagi because he's the guru.
Thank
he
you.
He knows what he's doing.
Thank you.
And so when Canada put the stop signs on the back, and I remember flew down there in the summertime, was training with you guys, and he said, "Jason, the worst thing that's ever happened to Canadian hockey has happened." And I said, "What's that?" He said, "Well, they put those stop signs on the back." I said, "Well,
remember
what the
those.
heck does that matter? It's just stopping, you from hitting the kids from behind." He's like, "No, that's going to teach everybody to turn their back." And what does every kid do now when they go into the corner? They teach them to turn your back to the play,
Yeah.
protect the puck on the wall, and that's how you get big, wide, and low, and that's how you protect the puck.
And how many times you see in every game a guy turns his back and gets crunched from behind? Do I feel sorry for that guy? No. Don't turn your back.
No.
He's
No.
his fault. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Move your feet, get out of the danger zone.
Yeah, he's turning his back, and 3 feet from the boards, he gets squashed. And then when he lays there, and then the coaches have to come out and pick him up, just like the little kids' coaches do.
Yeah.
And then we have to feel sorry for him. I never seen anybody, all the years I played hockey, played a lot of levels, never saw anybody turn their back, not one.
No.
I don't know what this is. There's something going on that there's more guys getting hurt now with less checking than there used to be more checking. Less guys got hurt. That's what I'm seeing.
You put more contact back in the game, guys pick their head up.
Yeah.
Is it going to slow the game down? Absolutely. Because if you're going 100 mile an hour and run into a Scott Stevens, well, that's going to hurt
You're
you a
going to
lot
think
more.
twice before
You're going to think twice. So maybe you're going to back it off a gear so that you can control the puck and keep your head up. And then let's see how that goes.
Well, anything else you want to cover? Or you have a final say? I have a final say. What do you have?
What do you got, Jacko?
Well, the final thing I want to say is get rid of this commissioner, bring in a hockey guy, a guy who actually played the game to be the commissioner, and I got one in mind. Who would you put?
Honestly, I'd probably put Steve Yzerman.
I would put Mark Messier.
Yeah, that would be another one. Absolutely.
I mean,
Mark Messier.
both of those guys are. Even bring two commissioners, have a vice and a head commissioner.
Yeah,
You know.
both of those guys I think would be amazing selections for that.
And have the players vote on it. Bring in like 10 guys in the group. Bring, maybe a no-name player. But I think Mark Messier, Yzerman, Sakic, those three are the most
Yeah.
respected guys. Even Brett Hull. I mean, Brett Hull is no dummy. He knows a lot.
Well, he won. We're kind of jaded against him here in Canada, right? Because he chose to play for the U.S. when he was
Yeah.
Canadian. But that is what it is. We
Yeah.
won't hold it against him too long. And he obviously scored the tainted Stanley Cup winner.
Yeah.
With the foot in the crease for the Dallas Stars. So
Remember that?
stole a Stanley Cup from the Buffalo Sabres. That's
Yeah.
the way I look at it.
But get rid of the commissioner because he's not doing a good job. It's making hockey worse. That's why I don't watch.
Yeah.
And bring in a real hockey guy that knows what the players' rules, you know, they have the ins and outs of what the players thinking. They know. They've been there and done that.
Yep.
I don't think that Bettman's ever carried a jock in his life.
No, well, I'm sure he did, but in a different manner.
Yeah, for a different man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, great talking to you, Jason.
Awesome, Jacko. You take care.
Thank you. You too. Get those rules changed. All right.
I'll leave that to you.
All right. See you, buddy. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.